97.3 Accra.
94, 95, 96.
97.3 Citi FM. It doesn't get any better than that.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Eyewitness News, coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. My name is Selom Adunu. Tonight I'm here with
Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
Coming up over the next 90 minutes, 2 new petitions have been filed for the removal of the Chief Justice. Of what effect will these new petitions be? We'll also bring you more reactions on the President and the Council of State founding of a prima facie case against the CJ and the subsequent suspension, plus details of some of the 3 petitions that caused a suspension. Also coming up, new chief executive for the Tamale Teaching Hospital appointed following what some have called the dramatic ousting of the former head of the hospital. We will help you understand what the issues are at the teaching hospital. Meanwhile, the Ghana Medical Association is unhappy about the termination of the CEO's appointment.
How he was treated, shouted at, essentially belittled in public is not at all the way to go.
We'll tell you more on that. Also coming up on Eyewitness News, government to peg age eligibility of Okada riders at 21 as it moves to regularize their operation. This is a revision from the earlier age of 25 communicated prior to further stakeholder consultation. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Gold Board begins licensing for gold trading service providers.
There is more business in the next 50 minutes. Eyewitness News is live across the country on all our affiliates and around the globe at citinewsroom.com. Your comments are welcome via our WhatsApp line 0549 986 996. You can follow me on X at Selom Adunu. The hashtag, as always, is Citi Newsroom. Now, to our very first story, the Office of the President has received 2 new petitions seeking the removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu from office. These latest petitions bring to 5 the total number of petitions submitted, following 3 earlier ones filed by separate individuals or personalities on February 14 and March 17, 2025. The petitions allege misconduct and abuse of power on the part of the Chief Justice. Although the specific details of the petitions or the 5 petitions remain confidential, sources indicate that the CJ has been formally served with the documents. Now, as I did indicate in the headlines, we have details of some of the 3 petitions, the earlier 3 petitions submitted to the president, the 3 petitions from which a prima facie case was established against the CJ that led to a subsequent suspension from office. Those petitions were from 1 Ayamga Yakubu Akolgo. There was another one also from Daniel Ofori, and also another from a group called the Shining Star petition. The Shining Star group with a convener who petitioned the president on the removal of the Chief Justice. My colleague Hansen Ajiman, who is our court correspondent, is joining me in the studio to help us go through some of the allegations, and of course we have the CJ's responses to all these petitions. Just give you snippets of some of the allegations made and what the responses of the CJ has been. After that, we'll speak to some legal minds and do some analysis on this one. So Hansen, good evening, welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening, Selo.
Yeah, so which one are we starting? We have one from the Ayamba, we have the Daniel Ofori one, and we have the Shining Star petition. Which one?
So we're starting with that of Daniel Ofori.
Very well.
So Daniel Ofori, from the petition going through, has a case with EcoBank, and that case, at a point in time, a case he had at the High Court was the current CJ, the suspended CJ at the time when she was at the High Court, was a judge who sat over the matter. So his petition bordered on the suspended CJ's actions in dealing with that matter and other matters relating to him, as well as how the suspended CJ engaged as far as the financial issues with the judiciary is concerned. And so prominent among his accusations or allegations is the misappropriation of public funds. He's saying that the suspended Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Tokono, she went on a vacation with her husband and daughter, where monies were expended from the accounts of the judicial service, where she ought not to have taken those monies to spend on her husband and also her daughter. And so specific portions of the petition reads: in 2023, the Honorable Chief Justice misappropriated a sum of 261,890 Ghana cedis of public funds for the benefit of the Chief Justice for her private foreign travel with her husband, Mr. Francis Kofi Tokono, and her daughter, Miss Edem Tokono, and $30,000 in per diem allowance when, to her knowledge, neither the husband of the Chief Justice nor her daughter were entitled to have their travel or any travel allowances paid for out of the funds of the judicial service. He also talks about misappropriation of funds on the part of the suspended Chief Justice to the tune of 75,580 Ghana cedis out of public funds for Ethiopian airline tickets for the Honorable Chief Justice and her husband during the vacation of her ladyship to Arusha, Tanzania. And she also talked about some $14,000 an accountable impress that were given to the Chief Justice at the time, but she failed to retire this particular.
Okay, so these are first, second, and third allegations.
Yes.
What did the CJ say? What were her responses to these allegations of misappropriation of funds?
So the CJ says these are policy issues within the judicial service, and these are entitlements that she is entitled to as Chief Justice and also a Superior Court judge. So her response says, my humble response is that the allegation is an unfortunate untruth. Please hear in with the following evidence. Now, so she provided paragraph 1B1 provides for 2 holidays for the Chief Justice in a year, with travel expenses, hotel accommodation, and per diem to be borne by the judicial service and capped at 14 days per round. Justice provides that the Chief Justice shall undertake unlimited official travels with either his or her spouse or other person of his or her choice in a year, fully funded by the judicial service. So she provided an answer the judicial service gave to the audit service with respect to travels from the Chief Justice. And she says Exhibit D04 is a response to audit observation provided by the Judicial Secretary to auditors who sought clarification on the expenditure on the ticket purchased for my husband and daughter during my holidays in 2023. On page 1 of Exhibit D04, the Judicial Secretary clarified that as Chief Justice, I opted to utilize the authorization in paragraph 9 and paragraph 10 of the travel policy to travel with my spouse and my daughter during my 2 holidays taken in September 2023, pursuant to the conditions of appointment of the Chief Justice. In view of this option, there was no infraction occasioned when I opted to travel for my 2 holidays with my spouse on one occasion and my daughter on the second occasion. The response to observation 1 and response to observation 2 of Exhibit 204 provide explanation on expenditure on tickets for my husband and daughter that the petitioner has unfortunately described as misappropriation of public funds by the Chief Justice. So she explains that these are policy conditions issues, that she's entitled to,
and those policies she says have been in existence since 2010 and amended in 2019. So that's her response to the issues of misappropriation of funds. What else did Daniel Ofori say? He mentioned some things around Jachikwesin tampering of evidence, etc. What did he say?
So he talks about the interference of the case, the criminal case at the High Court involving James Jachikwesin, and he says that the Chief Justice at the point in time caused officials of the national security to seize from the court's computers on which proceedings in that particular case and other cases were being recorded, and she did so also without the knowledge of the accused person and his lawyers. The petitioner also accused the Chief Justice of causing the arrest and maltreatment of some judicial service personnel at the ICT division at the law courts complex over some issues relating to the James Jachikwesin and case and record of proceedings. He also specifically said the Chief Justice calls for the Chief Justice calls for the arrest and also prosecution of two officers of the Judicial Service, Francis Baden and Adjoa Boatima, for allegedly tampering with a record of proceedings for July 19, 2023 in the Jachikwesin case. And he also said that the Chief Justice capriciously, unreasonably and maliciously transferred Francis Baden, who was Deputy Director of ICT of the Judicial Service, from the said position to the Regional Administration Judicial Service Tamale to coordinate activities or private process service in Northern, Northeast, Savannah, Upper East and Upper West region. So in his view, these actions that were taken by the Chief Justice were at the time an interference in that particular case, and he felt that all these were done without the knowledge of the lawyers of the accused person.
So what did the CJ say in response to these?
So the CJ tries to give a blow-by-blow explanation of what happened. So he said it was brought to her attention that at a point in time there were problems with the records of proceedings in that particular case. And so she decided to go to the court complex herself with
her ICT director,
with her ICT director, to identify or to get first-hand information about the situation. She indicated that she found out that the problem was more worrying than even had been reported to her. So as a result of that, the National Signals Bureau was then directed to investigate the matter. So portions of the response reads: after listening to the judge, I met with all ICT staff in the auditorium and addressed them on the unfortunate situation that had happened and sought their assistance in resolving their problem. Thereafter, I directed an investigation to be conducted into the incident. Exhibit DO 6A is a report from the National Signals Bureau, the national institution with capability to investigate the nature of the incident. Exhibit DO7 and DO7A is a final report on the incident by the committee appointed by the Judicial Service to investigate the role of the staff members who are identified as likely to have contributed to the breach in security of court records. In their 4 to 6 allegations, the petitioner repeatedly complains that as Chief Justice, I was personally involved in the resolution of the incident and conducted myself unconstitutionally by not involving the accused person and his lawyers in the resolution of the incident involving court proceedings. She describes this as an unfortunate misconception and goes ahead to say that as head of the Judiciary and Judicial Service, I had no duty to interact with the lawyer of the accused person whose records had been changed within the court's computer. Further, apart from the first day when I went to the court to the law complex on receipt of the report, I left all the other processes to relevant officers. I had no personal contact with the staff named in all the reports. So the Chief Justice clarifies that her presence in that matter in that case was because there was a report to her about some records missing. She found that the situation was bad and even reported, as she tasked the relevant institutions at the National Signals Bureau to undertake investigations into the matter.
Very well. So, I mean, still on Daniel Ofori's petition, take me to the 9th allegation where he alleges that the Chief Justice abused her power to transfer cases pending before one judge to another by ordering the transfer of a suit titled EcoBank versus Daniel Ofori. So Daniel Ofori in this allegation says that the Chief Justice abused the power of the Chief Justice to transfer cases pending before one judge to another judge by ordering a transfer of suit entitled EcoBank versus Daniel Ofori from the High Court General Jurisdiction 6, presided over by Her Ladyship Justice Buansi Amponsa, to High Court General Jurisdiction 8, presided over by Her Ladyship Justice Miracle, simply because she did not like a decision given by Justice Buansi Amponsa to dismiss the suit, which ran counter to dissenting opinions of Her Ladyship as a member of the panel of the Supreme Court in Daniel Ofori versus EcoBank, dated March 2021. He also says that the Chief Justice contemptuously refused to comply with a decision of the High Court presided over by His Lordship Justice Frank Abuaje, dated July 30th, 2024, which ordered the reinstatement of a member of staff of the Judicial Service, namely Thomas Odebua, in a case titled Thomas Odebua. So what were her responses to this specific allegation, the Daniel Ofori cases, and the transfer of the cases from one judge to the other? Well, so the Chief Justice, in answering to this case, decided to give an overview in what she says was the limited interactions that she has had as a judge or even as a Chief Justice with the petitioner in this matter. She says that she as Chief Justice, she's tried as much as possible not to empanel herself in matters involving the petitioner and EcoBank in this particular case. Now, she explained that the facts behind this transfer are that Justice Buansi sought urgent permission to travel out of Ghana because both her husband and son unfortunately fell ill suddenly in 2023. Exhibit 209 is attached in confirmation of this background. She was out of Ghana for months, and cases pending before her had to be transferred to other courts for hearing. This is the only reason why the cases pending before Justice Buansi were distributed to other judges, such as Justice Miracle. Justice Buansi returned to Ghana in 2024 and has herself now been taken ill. She is currently out of Ghana and has submitted an application for 1 year leave, which has been considered by the Judicial Council. Just hang on. Just hang in there. Let's speak to Kweku Ansah-Sare, who is a private legal practitioner and former director of the Ghana School of Law, on his thoughts on some of these allegations that we have been seeing, and the allegations which form the basis of the prima facie case against her, for which reason the Honorable Chief Justice has been suspended. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, we have snippets of some of the allegations made by the three petitioners, key among them being Mr. Daniel Ofori, who is a known investor and has been quite popular around the courts, when it comes to commercial matters. Have you had the opportunity of looking at some of the allegations yourself?
Against the Chief Justice?
That is so.
No, not yet.
Okay, so I mean, so let me just take you through a few of those allegations, and so we see whether these are strong enough or enough to ground a prima facie case against the Honorable Chief Justice. So the first one, in respect of Daniel Ofori's petition, says that in 2023, the Chief Justice misappropriated a sum of 261,890 cedis of public funds for the benefit of the Chief Justice for her private foreign travel with her husband, Mr. Francis Kofi Tokonu, and her daughter, Miss Edem Tokonu, and $30,000 in per diem allowance when, to her knowledge, neither the husband of the Chief Justice nor the Chief Justice's daughter were entitled to have their travel or any travel allowances paid out of the funds of the Judicial Service. So the Chief Justice also responds to this and says that, so this is her response. Said the petitioner alleges that as Chief Justice, I misappropriated the sum of 261,890 cedis of public funds for my private travel, foreign travel with my husband and daughter, when according to him, neither person was entitled to have their travel paid for out of the funds of the Judicial Service of Ghana. So my humble response is that the allegation is an unfortunate untruth. So she attaches some evidence to this, and she further says that she attached some exhibits. We do not have the exhibit, so we can only read what it says. It said exhibit DO2 is a policy on foreign travels by head of the judiciary and then superior court judges. Paragraph A9 provides that the Chief Justice shall undertake unlimited official travels with either his or her spouse or other person of his or her choice in a year, fully funded by the Judicial Service. Paragraph A10 provides that where the Chief Justice is accompanied by the spouse or other person, he or she shall travel on the same class of air ticket as the Chief Justice and shall be paid the equivalent of half of the per diem paid to the Chief Justice. She says this has been the policy of the Judicial Service since 2010 as amended in 2019. So see Exhibit DO3. So and Exhibit DO4 is a response to audit observation provided by the Judicial Secretary to auditors who sought clarification on the expenditure on the ticket purchased for my husband and daughter during my 2 holidays in 2023. On page 1 of Exhibit DO4, the Judicial Secretary clarified that as Chief Justice, I opted to utilize the authorization in paragraph 9 and paragraph 10 of the travel policy to travel with my spouse and my daughter during my 2 holidays taken in September 2023, pursuant to the conditions of appointment of the Chief Justice. In view of this option, there was no infraction occasioned when I opted to travel for my 2 holidays with my spouse on 1 occasion and my daughter on the 2nd occasion. The response to observation 1 and response to observation 2 of Exhibit DO4 provide explanation on expenditure on tickets for my husband and daughter that the petitioner has unfortunately described as misappropriation of public funds by the CJ. She goes on and on to say that response to page 3 of Exhibit DO4 further confirms that contrary to the unfortunate allegation that I failed to retire 14,000 given to me for my travel, I spent an amount of 4,411 out of the said interest and retired the remaining $9,588 dollars. I also attach here with Exhibit DO5 in further proof of that. So there were also specific allegations around her conduct as CJ in terms of. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes. So there were other allegations in respect of how she allegedly interfered with cases. So there was one on the Republic versus Jachi Kwesi where the petitioner says that the Honorable Chief Justice, without the knowledge of the accused person and his lawyer, unconstitutionally interfered with judicial proceedings in the case of Republic versus Jachi Kwesi in the High Court, Criminal Division 3, by accusing the arrest and causing the arrest and maltreatment at the offices of the National Security of the Judicial Service personnel of the ICT Division of the Law Courts Complex and Judicial Service personnel of the High Court, Criminal Division 3, as well as the questioning of the said officials of the Judicial Service by the officials of the National Security that the Honorable Chief Justice had caused to go to the High Court, Criminal Division 3. It continues to say that the Honorable Chief Justice falsely and maliciously accused 2 members of staff of the Judicial Service, namely Francis Baden and Adjoa Boatima Prempe, of tampering with the record of the proceedings for 19th July 2023 in the case of Republic versus Jachi Kwesi, and set up a committee of inquiry, also without the knowledge or involvement of the accused person and his lawyer, even though the proceedings alleged to have been tampered with related to proceedings in the case and were of interest to the accused persons. It goes on to say under allegation 7 that the Honorable Chief Justice arbitrarily, capriciously, and unreasonably and maliciously transferred Francis Baden, Deputy ICT Director of the Judicial Service, from the said position to the Regional Administration Judicial Service Tamale to coordinate activities of private process servers in the northern, northeast, Savannah, upper east, and upper west regions of the country, immediately upon Francis Baden being exonerated by a committee of inquiry set up by the Chief Justice and reinstated to his position as Deputy ICT Director, as recommended by the committee, from the false charge of tampering with the evidence. It goes on to say that the Honorable Chief Justice, in bad faith and arbitrarily and unreasonably, transferred the execution proceedings initiated on the directions of the Supreme Court. Okay, so that's in respect of a different matter. So in terms of allegation 7 and 8, which relates to the tampering of evidence, the Chief Justice's response is that these allegations that as Chief Justice are interfered with judicial proceedings in the case of Republic versus Jachikwesi in the Criminal Division 3 nothing can be further from the truth. It says that on July 28, 2023, I received an unusual report. And so there's Exhibit DO6, I'm sure, which is a report that she received, that the judge in charge of Criminal Division 3 had lost digitally created records of proceedings in the said case. I immediately went with the Judicial Secretary and Director of ICT to the court to understand the issue and found that the problem was even more bizarre. The court's records were reported to have been digitally changed. She says, after listening to the judge, I met with all ICT staff in the auditorium and addressed them on the unfortunate situation that had happened and sought their assistance in resolving the problem. Thereafter, I directed an investigation to be conducted into the incident. DO6A is a report from the National Signals Bureau, the national institution with the capability to investigate the nature of the incident. And it goes on and on to say that the final report appointed by the Judicial Service to investigate, so that final report was attached. So in the 4 to 6 allegations, the petitioner repeatedly complains that as Chief Justice, I was personally involved in the resolution of the incident and conducted myself unconstitutionally by not involving the accused person and his lawyers in the resolution of the incident involving court proceedings. That is an unfortunate misconception. So as head of the Judiciary and Judicial Service, I had no duty to interact with a lawyer of the accused person whose records had been changed within the court's computers. Further, apart from the first day when I went to the court in the law court complex on receipt of the report, I left all other processes to relevant officers. I had no personal contact with the staff named in all these reports. It goes on and on. So far, from what you have heard, what will be your reaction or your response?
Okay, thank you very much. My response is a very simple and straightforward one. These are the very matters for the current consideration of the committee that His Excellency the President has set up. Therefore, I would not want to make any comments, that because the matter, is sub judice, pending before a committee duly established pursuant to Article 146 of the Constitution. The only comment I wish to make is that the first one, which is traveling with spouse and daughter and whatever. These are, matters arising from, contract of employment. So there are issues that, can be gleaned from the terms and conditions of her appointment. If she was entitled, to do, she did not, as it were, formulate the terms and conditions, by herself. It was the Judicial Council or, whoever appointed her. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything wrong, with an office holder enjoying, the, terms and conditions of appointment. So that's the comment I'll make. The other comment, let the committee that is seized, of the matter go into the merits and make their findings. I don't want to prejudice. Any comment, will not other well for it to be interfering, what the president seeks to do.
I
That's my
see.
comment.
No, I perfectly understand that. We understand that 2 more petitions have been filed and same have been sent to the CJ for her response. What effect will these 2 petitions have? The lady is already on suspension. What will be the effect of these 2 petitions then?
What we are trying to suggest is that, if a person has been accused of something in standing trial and there's a fresh, allegation of criminality because of the pending one, these are fresh matters. And therefore, the president, will be constitutionally, right in following same due process. The fact that, petitions are pending, doesn't prevent the president from acting constitutionally. I think even if there are 1 million petitions, let him forward, the petitions in accordance with the mechanisms established in the Constitution.
I see.
What I see, of all this is that it appears that some people have vowed, to unseat the chief justice. It's unfortunate. It's rather unfortunate that in all these matters, we have singled out, one of the institutions of governance for, humiliation and mockery. What we are doing now, we are tarnishing the image of the Ghana judiciary. We think that it is just that we talk on it today, and therefore, an NDC government can do whatever, it desires to do in order, to cross an exit. But at the same time, it is the image of the country. It's sinking low, and maybe we have to do something about that. The president is acting in accordance with the Constitution. I would suggest that any more petitions, should be handled with care and circumspection. I think that the presidency should try to act quiet, on the quiet. Explain this and deal with them as if nothing has happened. We already have 5. So 3 plus 2, 5. Many more will come. Please, Mr. President, make sure that there isn't any more disclosure about them. Just send it to the Council of State. Let them also be discreet about the new and newer petitions that are in the offing and will come. Just be discreet about them. Send them to the Council of State. No more public disclosures, and let the committee work. And then one day the committee will just present their findings and the verdict, and the president will let the nation know the verdict that has been arrived at. But many more people is like now castigating, assassinating the character of the Chief Justice, humiliating her, vilifying her, and all these things. It is not the person or personality of Tokonu. It is the high office of Chief Justice of Ghana. So enough is enough. The comedy is enough now. All of us are laughing one way or the other. Mr. President, put an end to this saga. Let the committee work on the quiet. After all, the committee's proceedings are in camera. So enough of the publicity. Let us try to protect the image of the office of Chief Justice. We have an acting Chief Justice now. Let the acting Chief Justice, go about his duties without any, fear. The way we are going about this, I think we are getting on the nerves of the nation.
I see. I mean, is the point you're making that if new petitions come, the public shouldn't be made aware? Of course, and the public shouldn't be made aware. The president should just go ahead.
There's nowhere has it been written in the constitution that when petitions come, the president, might make the petitions a public matter, so that it becomes a public document that is, everybody's, knowledge and public domain and all that. The constitution says that the president shall forward the petitions to the Council of State and shall act about these things, the Council of State, whether a prima facie has been established or not. The constitution is not saying that each time there's a petition, the president should give it to public agenda, to evening news, to daily guide, graphic, to ancestry, to Citi, news, to this and that. No. That's not what the constitution, contemplated. The constitution contemplated some respectability in this affair, so that if it stands, I mean, we have discussed this, enough, and I think that any more petitions will just find their way to the Council of State, and otherwise we are watching too many dirty linen in the public, and our neighbors are laughing at us.
So kindly help us understand how it works. So these two new petitions, does it mean that this will also have to go through a process of its own, or because there's already an ongoing process, we can just add this to what the committee is doing, and the committee will deal with?
You shouldn't just forward them. You should follow, the provisions enshrined, in Article 146. Follow it to the letter. But in so doing, it should be devoid of, this public entertainment. Is the entertainment aspect that I'm trying. So
it's possible we'll have multiple committees working on the determination.
I'll be surprised if by Friday we have our 20 more.
So if it happens, then it means that we may have multiple committees sitting to assess.
So one committee is enough. The president shall set up. I mean, if you read it literally, then what you are saying may be true. That at first glance, it means each time. But the constitution did not anticipate this sort of thing happening, and therefore, since we are developing a jurisprudence around the removal process of the Chief Justice, what do? We have a committee. Any new petition could go through the same mail and then end up with the same committee to save expenditure. If we have to set up committees per the number of petitions, if there are 1,000 petitions, it means we'll have 1,000 committees. I mean, the whole nation will come to a wall.
Yeah, so I asked because you said we should allow the petitions to go through the process. So yes, I can appreciate that it has to go to the Council of State.
One committee should be enough. Common sense. Yes, one petition should be one committee should be enough. You say, first of all, mind you, say the president shall set up a committee of 5, comprising 2 justices of the Supreme Court, then 3 other members. When we have 20, we would have exhausted the
number of justices on the Supreme Court.
Yes. Therefore, what it means is that by sheer and good reasoning, we have one committee. We will have the 2 justices of the Supreme Court. We will have the 3 people who have been, give them the work to do. Expediency should be the hallmark of the whole thing. And therefore, if we have, say, 10, 20, 15 petitions, since we want, to bring this matter to an end soonest, that committee should be charged or tasked to work day and night and ensure that they can, make their verdict known to the president, who will then, take the final decision upon the advice of the judicial the Council of State. So I don't think multiplicity, of petitions, should ensure the establishment of multiple committees.
Very well.
That is not, a reasonable thing to construe after the provision. One committee is sufficient.
Thank you so much, Kweku Ansasari, private legal practitioner, former director of the Ghana School of Law. Thanks so much for speaking to us on this. Hawa has some more stories.
Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Justice Rimsai, has justified the President's decision to suspend Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono. His comment comes in response to MP for Ibuaka South, Samuel Atachia, who described the suspension as unconstitutional and potentially contemptuous of the Supreme Court. However, speaking on the City Breakfast Show earlier today, Dr. Rimsai argued that the President is mandated to carry out his constitutional duties regardless of any legal actions filed against his decisions.
There's no law which says that the President, should stop performing a constitutional function. Not just the President. There's no law which says that any public official should stop performing a public duty merely because someone has gone to court or has raised objection to how the duty or whether the duty is performed. So there's no basis for that as far as the Constitution is concerned. When you're a public officer, you are balancing interests. So if the President says that I will not proceed with what, and I'll wait for a court decision to be made, the other side is that there's someone or a group of people who are aggrieved and have adopted a constitutionally required process for a particular outcome.
Now, following calls for the findings from the removal process to be made public, Dr. Justice Rimsai clarified that the confidentiality required under Article 146 is intended to protect the integrity of the process and the reputation of those involved.
I think the reason why there's a requirement for privacy is that some of the issues that may be raised in a petition, especially where the issues are not founded, could be defamatory. And so the premise of the Constitution, we're trying to balance the personal, character protection of the accused justice and also the public interest. So what I think the situation is that during the proceedings, and the Constitution is very clear that the proceedings shall be in camera. It doesn't say that after the proceedings, when the decision is made, the public will be denied of the basis for the decision. That would not have been, I don't think that is what the premise of the Constitution intended. And we have seen in other situations where the proceedings have ended, we've seen some of the decisions published. So, for example, in President Akufo-Addo, the one on CJ Tokono in December, I think he wrote a lengthy decision of the proceedings and was published. So, the privacy aspect, as far as I understand, is limited to while the proceeding is going on.
Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Justice Rimsai. Meanwhile, the NPP has condemned President John Dramani Mahama's suspension of the CJ, calling it unconstitutional, absurd and repugnant. Now, speaking at a meeting with party staff, NPP General Secretary Justin Frimpong Kodia described the move as a threat to Ghana's democratic progress.
Suspended by the sitting president, something that has never happened under this Fourth Republic. And as a party, we are using this medium to show our displeasure about the action of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This is not the democracy Ghana wishes for. And as a country that has gone through several elections, there should be progression, not retrogression. The action by His Excellency President Mahama is not just absurd, but also repugnant and unconstitutional. More so when we know a petition has been filed at the Supreme Court challenging the very process. At least the President should adhere to the rules and principles of the law by allowing the due process to follow.
General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia Frimpong.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll bring you more. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now. Go, the go. Google me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I don't change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Cause now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open it. Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, they make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside? I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small. Go. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has appointed a senior official at the University for Development Studies, Tamale, Dr. Abubakar Bawa Abdullah, as the new Chief Executive Officer for the Tamale Teaching Hospital. His appointment comes in the on the back of the dismissal or the termination of the appointment of Dr. Adam Atiku, who was relieved of his duties following reports of alleged negligence that contributed to the recent death of a patient at the hospital's accident and emergency ward. This happened yesterday when the minister was in the company of the Member of Parliament for the area, the Honorable Al-Hassan Suini, Tamale North Member of Parliament, and of course Deputy Minister of our Republic. And so the Honorable Al-Hassan Suini is joining us on the line to provide us some updates on the happenings in the hospital. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. Can you confirm to us that indeed the termination of the appointment of the former chief executive was because of the confrontation and the matters that happened yesterday?
Well, Salam, thank you very much. Good evening to you and good evening to your listeners. First of all, I think that it is important that I make a little clarification. The hospital is not in my constituency. It is, however, in Tamale, and Tamale is a cosmopolitan area now, and all the 4 MPs in Tamale are now in the constituency. I mean, in the whole metropolis. And the Tamale Teaching Hospital also happens to be a referral hospital that takes care of the about 5 northern regions of Ghana. So we all have an interest in how the hospital facility is being managed. And that is why perhaps I was lucky to be invited by the Minister of Health, because I was in town when he was paying a surprise visit to the hospital to assess for himself the conditions that the hospital is in now. Salom, just to take you a little back, about a couple of days ago, a gentleman passed at the hospital, leading to social media campaigns by people in the community asking for the government to fix the hospital, because the
death of the gentleman is not an isolated incident, and people have complained about various challenges with the facility. And I think that is what prompted the minister to pay the surprise visit to the hospital. But the dismissal of the CEO, my understanding is that it had nothing directly related to the death of this gentleman, because after the interaction with health professionals at the hospital yesterday, the minister had a management meeting with the hospital staff, and then later announced a 3-member committee that is supposed to go into the cause of the death of 31-year-old Salim. And so not until the 3-member committee submits its report, I don't think that any action taken from now on until that happens is related to the death. But it is just part of government's agenda to reset that hospital and to respond to the calls of the people to fix the TTH, the Tamale Teaching Hospital, to become, the facility that it is expected to be, to save lives and to improve healthcare of the people. I have followed media reports, and they seem to be confusing what happened with the minister's surprise visit and the dismissal of the CEO of the hospital. I think the two are not, directly related. The minister, I do know, have been in consultation with His Excellency the President, in consultation with opinion leaders and stakeholders in the region, and have been, discussing ways to improve the facility. And one of the ways, in his view, especially after his visit yesterday, where he saw some level of deterioration that he queried the management over, decided that the retooling of the facility may have to start with the removal of the CEO and the subsequent formation of a board for the hospital, and probably some more shakeups at the hospital. I also realized that he took notice of some of the challenges that the health professionals face, especially when it comes to lack of the equipment that they need to do their work. And as far as I'm aware, the whole of today, the minister has been working to ensure that some ventilators are procured and, sent to the teaching hospital, because it came up strongly during interaction with the health professionals that at the emergency unit, especially at the red zone, they do not have enough ventilators. So I also know that after the management meeting, he spoke with his colleague Minister for Energy. He also reached out to his colleague Minister for Water Resources and Water Works and Water Resources, because the issue of reliable, water supply to the hospital came up strongly. The issue of dedicated power to the hospital also came up strongly. So these are some of the things that came up. But the dismissal of the CEO, once again, I want to reiterate, had nothing to do directly with the death of 31-year-old Salman. A 3-member committee has been set up to look into that matter. And the CEO of the hospital, again, is not the gentleman who was seen in the video having exchanges with the minister. The gentleman seen in the video having exchanges with the minister is, we are told, a very hard-working staff of the teaching hospital who makes a lot of sacrifices and is a dedicated worker of the hospital. But he was simply cautioned by myself and the minister not to suggest that the loss of the life of Salim was being blown out of proportion, because we thought that was insensitive.
I see. So the point you're making is that whether or not the minister had gone to the place yesterday, the chief executive was going to be relieved of his position.
I believe so, because I do know that extensive consultations have taken place long before the minister decided to pay the surprise visit to the hospital yesterday.
But you can't fault the persons you say on social media who are misrepresenting the facts because of the timing of the termination of the appointment. I mean, all of this happened, some confrontation between the minister and the doctor at the hospital. By evening time, then the chief executive officer is gone. So though you say that there were consultation or discussions on the appointment of a new chief executive, with the president already, the timing of the events actually made it appear like it happened because of the happenings of yesterday.
I agree with that misconception, and I do not intend to fault anybody. I only would encourage that that should be left with people who perhaps are not sophisticated, but those of us in the public space, in the media, in the policy space, in the medical space, who care about these things, should sometimes, go beyond the headlines and get the facts before we take certain stance and positions. I do appreciate that the circumstances can lead to misrepresentations and misreportage. But the facts remain that the gentleman seen in the video in the exchanges with myself and the minister has not, been taken through any disciplinary measure. He's not the CEO, and I do not think he will be taken through any disciplinary measure. It was just advice strongly offered to him, which he strongly rejected, which we have no problem with. The CEO would have been, I'm sure, dismissed with or without the surprise visit of the Minister of Health, because I know about the consultations that took place before his visit. I think that his visit only afforded him the opportunity to, come to the conclusion that the decision had to be urgently taken. And he decided to do so because of the deterioration of the hospital. I mean, there are facilities at the hospital that have been broken down for the last 5 to 6 years without any, attention given it. In fact, some of the equipments were locked up in hospitals. It took minutes, sometimes hours, for them to even find a key to those rooms to open for us to see. And all of that did not show, top-notch management of the facility. And I'm sure that is what just pushed the minister to urgently take the decision that he took yesterday. But it had nothing to do with the death of 31-year-old Salman. It had nothing to do with the altercation that happened at the hospital. And the altercation did not even include the CEO. The CEO was an observer of what happened. The CEO cautioned his staff, the Dr. Valentine, in this case, to stop talking and stop defending his position. He wouldn't budge. And the minister did same. I did same. He wouldn't budge. We walked away. We do not think that he did anything wrong. We just thought that he perhaps should have been more receptive of the suggestion that we were offering him not to refer to the matter as being blown out of proportion.
Very well. Thank you so much, the Honorable Alasan Suini, Member of Parliament for the Tamale North constituency, for speaking to us on Eyewitness on the matter. So he referenced, Honorable Suini referenced an altercation between the doctor, Dr. Valentine, and the minister. Let's give you excerpts of that confrontation or altercation, so you can make some judgment for yourself.
With special relatives the moment they come, especially for the red zone, which we all know is high dependency. But I think the solution to this is simple. If there were available ventilators here, then would have intubated the patients, and then this issue wouldn't have even sprung up. That's what I think. Because we have the capacity to have intubated the patient.
Yeah, we all know the ideal situation, and we all know what must be done to solve the problem. But that doesn't mean that until we have the ideal situation, we should not be able to manage the situation. You understand? So that is why you are here. We don't have it here, but we have it at the ICU. The fact that we don't have it here doesn't mean that if there's an issue, your defense is that because we don't have it here, until we have it here, nobody. It's not a defense. So don't put up that posture.
No, it's not a defense. Please. I'm also trying.
Don't put up that posture.
Yes.
Don't put up that posture. I'm telling you something, and you are insisting and resisting. Huh? Please.
If we have to resolve the problem, we have to be honest.
I'm saying that I've told you.
Because I also stated that.
How you treat the person?
But even from the minister, can you imagine what you do with the common person?
I'm trying to explain.
Imagine how you do with the common person. You do worse things here. It means that you do worse things here. I mean, even with your superiors, look at how you are arguing. No, there's a problem. There's a problem here. So if a commoner comes here, can you imagine what you... How can somebody talk to this man here? How will he be able to communicate with you here? How will he deal with it? There's a problem.
So there was some interaction between a medical officer at the Tamale Teaching Hospital and the Minister for Health, the Honorable Minta Akando, when he visited the facility yesterday following the death of a patient. And that matter is or has been discussed widely, or is being discussed widely on social media, and people are naming negligence as the cause of that person's death. Meanwhile, the GMA is not happy, and they've been speaking on the matter. How? Basalam,
they have criticized the dismissal of the chief executive of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, Dr. Adam Atiku, describing the move as an abuse of power and a violation of due process by the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando. Now, General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Selome, condemned both the dismissal of Dr. Atiku and the treatment of medical personnel at the emergency unit during the minister's visit.
Don't conduct clinical audits or audits of patients' deaths in the media space, because it can easily be misconstrued and exposes the staff to various personal and psychological risks. And the facility itself could be laden with suits for issues that may not actually even be related. And so we felt that how he was treated, shouted at, essentially belittled in public is not at all the way to go. Health workforce constitute a major force in any policy implementation, in any change management that we want to see in the health sector. And many of our health workers are working under trying conditions, breaking their backs, overworking in many circumstances. Indeed, yes, the minister acknowledged this at the end of his interview and talks about that, yes, they should still do their best. In the particular instance where a person needs to be on the ventilator, the best that he's asking to be done is for the person to be on a ventilator.
General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Richard Selome.
Now let's do some other stories. The government is set to review the age limit for riders of motorcycles and tricycles from 25 years to 21. The adjustment follows opposition from the Okada Riders Association, which argued that the proposed 25-year limit would leave many young people jobless. Speaking on the sidelines of the Transport and Logistics Sector CEO's breakfast meeting, Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nipe said concerns about the age requirement have been addressed in a memo submitted to Cabinet for approval.
Our laws indicate that before you can do any commercial business, you should be age 25, and we cannot take off Okada riders alone out of that law. And so it has taken us back for me to prepare and send another amendment. And so I have presented it to Cabinet for us to look at how we will look at the age in general for commercial purposes and bring it down from 25 to 21. Because within the stakeholder consultations we have had, everybody is recommending that we should look at the age limit of 25 and bring it down to 21. So I've just submitted a memo to Cabinet, and very soon, if it is approved, we will take it on board so that the law will be amended in that totality to also reduce the age of doing commercial business when it comes to driving and motorcycle riding.
That was the Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari Nipe. Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We'll take a short break. When we return, it will be time for City Business News. Don't go away.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now. Go, the go. Go me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I don't change my car. It be the same, right? It be the fuel way I change. Way one shout it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protection protector. And what they bust my mind self be the 3-in-1 action no. Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open there.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside?
I give you info. Make a fill the gobe too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Stronger brand you can trust. Polytank, we get some more Rambo and get some more super. And the Polytank, we did Polytank. Papa no, Alcasa. Polytank, the original, always the best.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Well, before business news comes in, I mean, some news coming in also is that Raymond Archer has been appointed the active executive director of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. He replaces Abdullahi Bashiru Dapila, who previously served as in the same capacity. Sources indicate that Mr. Dapila has been reassigned to the National Security Secretariat, where he will serve as a technical advisor. Mr. Archer, a former investigative journalist, assumes leadership of EOCO as the office continues its mandate to combat economic and organized crime. So that's some news coming in for you. How has the rest in business news?
Well, the Ghana Gold Board has reiterated its directive requiring all foreign nationals to exit the local gold trading market by April 30, 2025. This comes as the Gold Board has commenced the licensing process for service providers within the gold trading sector effective Wednesday, April 23, 2025. In a statement, Prince Kwame Minka, Media Relations Officer for the Ghana Gold Board, notes that Ghanaians aged 18 and above or wholly owned Ghanaian companies can apply online via www.goldboard.gov.gh or in person at the Gold Board licensing office in Accra. License categories, which include aggregator license, self-financing aggregator license, among others, will be available for application starting July 2025. The Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy has backed the government's submission of a legislative instrument to Parliament aimed at enabling competitive procurement of power plants. The Ministry of Finance said the initiative is part of effort to address the country's substantial energy sector debt, which currently stands at approximately $2 billion. Speaking to City Business News, the Centre's Executive Director, Benjamin Nsia, commended the government for the move, describing it as a step in the right direction.
Open competitive tendering is the best way to go because if you look at the lifespan of some of these PPA agreements, we think that some of them might have achieved their investment, or they've had a return on their investment. So there should be that renegotiation of some of these contracts to ensure that on the government and also on the end user becomes minimum because return of investment might have been achieved. Second part is that because we are not also in an emergency situation, I think that there's no need to single source or restrict the purchase of power or generators in the country. So competition helps us get the best that serves the interests of government, the company, and also the end user of power locally. So I think it is a good approach.
Benjamin Nsia is the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy. The government has pledged to tackle key challenges in the transport and logistics sectors as part of efforts to enhance economic competitiveness. Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikwe says the ministry will engage closely with industry stakeholders to find lasting solutions to these constraints, which continue to impact the efficiency of supply chains and overall business productivity. He made the remarks on the sidelines of CEO's breakfast meeting organized by Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport.
Well, I wouldn't want to take off the purpose of this meeting to another dimensions. The purpose of this meeting is for us to put our heads together and see what changes we will do in the transport sector. If there are high free charges or charges at the port, it is one of the issues we are going to deliberate on to see what innovative ways we are going to do or put in place to help bring down the cost of doing business in our ports. And also, what is it that we will do to decongest our cities, to decongest our ports, to decongest and also our roads. So we are entering into the second phase. That is where we are going to have all these discussions. And like I told you, or like I said in my opening address, the ministry is always prepared to collaborate with them, to partner with them, to bring about innovation in the transport sector.
He had Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikwe. The Data Protection Commission of Ghana is set to roll out a targeted enforcement campaign in the coming weeks to clamp down on organizations misusing user data. This initiative is part of a broader strategy to reinforce surveillance measures that underpin trust in the country's digital economy. Addressing participants at the MTN Business CTIO Roundtable Africa 2025, Executive Director of the Commission, Dr. Arnold Kavrapo, stressed the need to strike a balance between the commercial interest of data controllers and the privacy rights of individuals.
The Commission will be engaging a series of sensitization and enforcement efforts in the next couple of weeks. We will continue to count on every player to help us uphold the integrity of our digital ecosystem. Our work as a commission is not only about sensitization and enforcement. It is about shaping a future where technology serves people and ignites progress. Our ministry, the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technologies and Innovation, has already instructed us to develop Ghana's open data framework. And if you are in the AI space, you know that being able to access data with APIs that allows you to consume those data and in the format that you need, that's generally understood by everyone, is critical.
That was Executive Director of the Data Protection Commission of Ghana, Dr. Arnold Kavapuo. And in City Business News on Eyewitness News, I am Hawa Idrisu Mustafa. Good evening.
Are you feeling tired after a hard day's work? Have you lost your appetite even for your favorite dish? Viral Blood Tonic is a nutritionally balanced, pleasant-tasting tonic fortified with iron and vitamins to boost your appetite and energy levels for high performance. Viral Blood Tonic, easy to take and good for the family. Viral from Danex Iting Starwin PLC. If symptoms persist after 48 hours, consult a physician. This advert is FDA approved.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Wale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Massa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Welcome back. This is not Point Blank. We are transitioning to the English Premier League. Tonight is a big match between Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Arsenal is second on the table. While Crystal Palace is at number 12. Arsenal must win this to cement their number 2 position That is if the premiership, the title itself, is run away. My colleague Bernard Abekwotri is here to take us into the commentary with our partners Talk Sport. Abeku, how are we?
I'm fantastic. Yes. I love how you are doing the Arsenal analysis today.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say cemented their place at number 2, but you know that's not progress.
I think you should rather be talking about should Arsenal fail to win, Liverpool have their 20th.
Exactly, and even I'm just seeing that what's the name? Man City has 61 points. So if Arsenal fails to win, I mean, how many matches more to go? 6.
This is match week 34. So we're doing 38. So
about 4 more. Yeah, so it's not a done deal really for Arsenal number 2. So I mean they have to win.
Arsenal would only have to win to put Liverpool on their toes, and that's the most important. You know, it's not to say that you're going for the trophy. The manager have explained already that the target is UEFA Champions League because you have to beat PSG and get closer and maybe win it.
So we just want to delay the celebration of Liverpool.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's okay. But our focus really is PSG and the Champions League. We hope to do something.
If you can win the Champions League this season,
yeah, that'll be great. That will go a long way to put the fans at
ease. Do you believe the boys?
Why not? I mean, Real Madrid.
You've got injuries.
Yes, but we still, with a side that has been, injury stricken, we still manage to do the double of our Real Madrid. I mean, so why not? I mean, PSG. Yeah, we'll do it. I mean, my concern is
your injury list actually is scary though.
Yeah, but with that scary injury list, we still manage to beat.
And Partey not going to play still.
No
you
problem.
feel?
There's Merino who can sit in.
I mean, that's why we brought him. I love the energy of the Gunners now.
That's why we brought Merino. So let's see what happens.
All right,
I mean, so Charlie Abeku, I mean, all the best. Take it out from there.
Thank you. Hi and good evening. Yesterday I made you a promise. I told you we're going to meet today too. And hear what? I am here today, and I am Bernard Abekwotri. This is Premier League Live on your radio alongside Talk Sports on 0549986996. That's for the WhatsApp lines. I will be communicating on that line. Let's get into the team news, shall we? Maybe we can start with the match facts. You know what? Crystal Palace's only win away to Arsenal